The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another edition of the Twin Toros podcast. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, the man next to me, the president of Houston Sports, Nick Stevenson. Pops, how's it going?
Feeling good, man. Feeling
Good.
good.
That's it?
You smell that in the air, man? It's
Talk
so
to me.
close. It's so
Ooh.
close, man. It's
Ooh.
like when you wake up in the morning and you smell that breakfast downstairs and you can't even wait to get to it. The bacon sizzling, got the music playing in the background, and you know you're about to eat yourself a good breakfast, man. Listen, I watched you guys on UAD, Stressins, and Harley. I watched your guys' video after the Chargers game, man, and y'all got me hyped. Y'all were making some bold predictions in that video. So I'm excited to have this
Yeah, pretty
conversation
bold.
with you, bro.
Pretty bold. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, Saturday, 3:30 tomorrow, the Houston Texans at Arrowhead, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. I mean, what more can I say? This is a dynasty.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs right now are being compared to the New England Patriots. And hey, if they do win a third Super Bowl in a row, people are going to call Patrick Mahomes the greatest quarterback of all time. They deserve that respect, Nick. And
Mm-hmm.
I was not surprised at all that the Houston Texans, were underdogs, 9.5 points I see on BetUS.
Ooh.
I am not upset about that at all because I know who I'm going up against,
Yeah.
the Kansas City Chiefs. However, after what I did last week, after all the smack talk that was last week, and this Houston Texans team making us proud on Saturday, belt to ass against the Los Angeles Chargers,
Yeah.
it's hard not to think that this Houston Texans team has a chance tomorrow against Kansas City.
Yeah, man, a puncher's chance. And really, that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. And, we keep invoking the 9-7 Giants who won the Super Bowl twice against who is now considered, right now considered the greatest quarterback of all time. But I give you that. Patrick Mahomes is right on his heels if he hasn't caught up to him yet. And you're right. This is a moment for the Houston Texans to change the history of this game. It's a moment where they have an opportunity to play spoiler to Patrick Mahomes, perhaps surpassing Tom Brady, man. So it's really exciting, and I agree with you. What happened last week is the reason that we're feeling this right now. I think the Texans understand just as well as we do. The Chiefs are a whole different animal, man, and I hope that that's the message that D'Amico is giving this team. What you did last week, that's last week. It's time to focus on this week. And the good news is you played them in the regular season. I think both coaches are going to probably be doing things completely different than they did in the first game. And that's what I'm excited about, man. This is going to be a measuring stick game, not just for the Houston Texans, but for D'Amico Ryans as a coach. And honestly, Bobby Slowick. Bobby Slowick's been interviewed, or at least requested to be interviewed a few times already. So we're going to see how you match up against two of the greatest to ever do it, and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. So I'm excited, man. Listen, man, if you can't get excited for this game, you don't have a pulse. You don't have a spine. And everybody, we're going to say the same thing we said last week. If you're not rooting for these Texans and giving them a punching chance, then go ahead and turn it off, bro. Don't even watch tomorrow, because tomorrow is H-Town till we drown, baby. And I can't wait to see you guys out at Tejas Brewery. It's gonna be lit, bro.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So we will be having a watch party, Tejas Brewery, 2101 Summer Street. It's a 3-story building. We will be at the very top. Me and Nick will be there. Harley, Stressens, AD, John Hickman from Locked On Texans. We had over 300 people show up last time. We're expecting double that tomorrow. I am excited. And what's at stake for this Houston Texans team, Nick? It's history.
Yeah.
It is your, barring a win, right? If you get a win, your first appearance ever in franchise history at the AFC Championship game, which
Mm-hmm.
would make this the most successful season ever
Mm-hmm.
for the Houston Texans, which would cement CJ Stroud as the greatest Houston Texans quarterback ever already in year two, because he's taking you to places where you have never gone before.
For
And
sure.
if that does happen and you see who he beat, the back to back Super Bowl champions, the evil empire, as I like to call them, my Hall of Fame coaching staff, Hall of Fame players on both sides of the ball, this would be the biggest win in franchise history
Mm-hmm.
for the Houston Texans. And what's so insane about this week, if you get it done, you still got either the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. So it does not get easy
Yeah.
at all if the Houston Texans pull out a dub. But man, you have an opportunity to shock the world, Nick.
Yeah.
And I'm praying that this team does tomorrow while we're watching it together at Tejas Brewery.
Yeah, man. One of your favorite phrases to use is a broken clock is right twice a day.
Mm.
So Texans fans, I'm not gonna call excuse me, I'll edit that out. I'm not gonna call this Houston Texans team a broken clock, but we know, like you said, the odds that they're up against.
Mhm.
But any team is beatable, man. And we talked about this multiple times. This isn't a series. If the Texans play the Kansas City Chiefs 10 times, they're probably going to lose 8 or 9 of them. All you need is one.
Mm.
All you need is one. And we've talked about all season, as long as we've been doing this show, that no matter what the regular season record was, if the Houston Texans win 2 playoff games, this is going to be a successful season. And, you know, I'm just super excited to see it happen, man. Honestly, I've talked about it multiple times with you and other people. I think if the Texans are going to win this game, they're going to have to win by more than one score. Because when it's close, we all know the history between the referees and the Kansas City Chiefs, man. So I'm hoping that they come out and give their best performance that we've seen all season offensively. It's going to be difficult. Like, Kansas City's defense is legit, and you are pretty much down to one wide receiver and a few half wide receivers. So everybody got to come to play, but you can't tell me that it can't be done. I believe in the underdog. America loves the underdog, and so hopefully most of America will be behind us, trying to see us slay the dragon tomorrow.
And hey, and if you play like you did on Saturday, you're gonna have an opportunity to win this game. You heard
100%,
Rex Ryan after his apology. If I would have known you were gonna play like that, I would have picked you to gone to the Super Bowl.
for sure.
And will it happen against Kansas City? You know, all signs point to no. However,
I like
Nick,
those odds, though.
I like the odds. I know who I'm going up against. If you are scared, do not come outside. And, you know, we'll start getting to the keys to the game.
Yeah,
One of my keys to the game is CJ Stroud following up what he did middle of the second quarter and for the rest of the football game, because we saw an entirely different CJ Stroud after the
yeah,
snap went over his head, picks it up and finds Xavier Hutchinson. We saw a confident CJ Stroud, a poor CJ Stroud, and a CJ Stroud that was methodical when he had time to throw the football. If
right.
you get that CJ Stroud tomorrow against this Kansas City defense, you're going to be feeling real good, man.
hmm I agree with you 100%, but he's got to be that from the very first snap. They're not
Can't
going to
come
be able
out
to take,
slow like last
yeah,
week.
they're not going to be able to take the first quarter off, not against the Chiefs, man. And you're going to need the takeaways. You're going to need the defense, man. I went back and watched the game again, and you know, the Chargers game, and I think that's the best defensive performance we've seen all year. You know, maybe even better than the Josh Allen game. It just they were swarming, man. They were all over the place, and that's what they're going to need to do against Kansas City. The difference is that, you know, Patrick Mahomes won't be standing back there like a statue
Mhm.
the way that Herbert was. So, but I know that listen, I trust D'Amico Ryans. I know he's already told the team that he's going to have them prepared, and that's why I feel confident that they have a puncher's chance in this game, because I know D'Amico is going to have this team prepared. All eyes once again are going to be, like you said, on CJ Stroud and on this offense. And while you're saying the key is CJ Stroud playing well, I'm gonna put the spotlight on Bobby Slowick too. Your play calling against the Chargers, it was different. They didn't come out and run the ball every first down, and they did the quick hitting plays we've been asking them to do all year. The pass rush from the Chiefs up the middle with Jones. I mean, this offensive line is going to have to play even better than they did last week. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think there's a chance they can do it, but I agree with you 100%. The key is CJ's got to be the CJ we saw last week, but he's got to be it for the whole game.
100% agree on that. And, stick it with CJ. The thought of him using his legs tomorrow
Mm,
not
yes,
only excites me, but it should also put some fear in the Kansas City Chiefs defense and defense coordinator Spags, Hall of Fame guy, by the way,
right.
because we've never seen CJ Stroud before utilize his legs. The most was last week against the Los Angeles Chargers, and I've said this since we've drafted him. If he decides to start using his legs, get the easy yards that is in front of him, that's just adding another dangerous element to this Houston Texan offense. If they start putting a spy out there, hey, that's just another person not coming at the offensive line. Dude, I think we might see an entirely different CJ Stroud the rest of the playoffs. And I think you need to do whatever you can to get the W because there is no tomorrow. There is no
Exactly.
next week. You win on Saturday, it's AFC Championship. You lose on Saturday, you're in the offseason.
Yeah.
It needs to be all systems go. My second key to the game, you brought up the defensive line and D'Amico Ryans. These boys need to be hunting.
Mm,
The good thing is the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, it will have Joe Tooney at left tackle instead of the interior. This is where I'm looking at Danico Autry, Folo Fantucansi, who were not there last time against the Kansas City Chiefs,
hmm
and also Mario Edwards Jr. However, he was playing, but wasn't that good.
Right.
Saturday against LA, Danico Autry sack. Mario Edwards Jr. sack. Danico Autry blocked extra point. They
Yeah.
were swarming against Los Angeles, and I wonder how the Chiefs are going to use their offensive line because if Danico Autry and MJ Stewart start putting pressure up the middle, do
Yeah.
they move him back to guard? And then you have Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., on the outside. It's going to be a chess match, man. And
Yeah.
the team
For
with
sure.
the better, the team that wins the trenches is going to win on Saturday.
Yeah.
We saw the Houston Texans do it against the Chargers. Can they do it against the Kansas City Chiefs and Arrowhead? I'm not sure, but I'm ready to find out.
Yeah, it sounds cliche, doesn't it? But I mean, that's what it really boils down to. Because if CJ's got time, he's going to make plays. If Patrick Mahomes has time, he's going to make plays. And I like what you brought up about them, getting pressure up the middle because if you get pressure up the middle, yes, Patrick Mahomes is mobile, but he's going to be running to the outsides, and who do you got on the outsides? As long as you got Daniil Hunter and you got Will Anderson Jr. setting that edge, man, that could be a real difficult day.
And then you got his knees just waiting for him to run up that middle.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be a real difficult day, and that's all you want to do, man. The times that Tom Brady, as great as he is, and keep in mind he was not ever as mobile as Mahomes is, but the times that Brady struggled in the postseason is when people were able to get pressure on him. So one thing that I do like about our chances, and one of the reasons I feel like the Texans have a chance, is what they do well is Kansas City's weakness on that offensive line. So like you said, go hunt, go get that quarterback, and then when you got these DBs locking up between Lassiter and Stingley, you're just waiting to force him into a mistake, man.
And
I'm really excited
I'm
about that.
so glad you brought that up because, right, let's say he has to get through the defensive line and it has to be a scramble play. He has to pull something out of his ass. This defense is so sticky
Hmm
that if it's an error throw, if it's not batted, it's going to be an interception going the other way. That's how elite and ball hawking
Yeah,
this Houston Texans secondary has been all year. Pick last week by Kamari Lansbury, the Rook. Two by Derek Stingley, and one by Mr. Eric Murray that he took back to the crib. We
yeah,
once again are hearing that Patrick Mahomes, well, a good quarterback, has not turned the ball over, right? In the division around Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw an INT. Well, I've heard that story all year,
yeah.
and I've seen Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, now Justin Herbert,
hmm
quarterbacks who people consider safe turnover prone against the Houston Texans defense. We're gonna get a turnover, Nick. We got one last time, but the ref decided to throw the flag and bring back,
Yeah.
the sack fumble.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think yeah, it's man. That's why I said if the Texans are gonna win, man, I think they're gonna have to win by more than one score. Because anytime it's on the margins, I mean, the Chiefs went 15 or 16-1, whatever they went on one score games, and they won almost all of them. So uh, for me, I just want to see execution to the best of the Houston Texans' ability. And that means no, they got away with a lot of penalties last week. That's not going to happen against the Chiefs. So we've seen this team be focused. We've seen them play clean football. It's going to have to be the game of their lives, man. They got to catch lightning in a bottle. And that's what we're hoping for. And that's what, I don't want to say we're expecting, but that's the reason we have the confidence, because we know what this team can do against anybody. We've seen them at their best. And I can't wait for the game, man. I can't wait to be hanging out with everybody in H-Town. And it's going to be lit, man. I'm super
Yeah,
excited.
you owe me a couple beers, man.
I think
I'm
you owe me one by now, bro. When's the last time you bought me one? It's cool.
you know,
We'll settle that debate tomorrow.
so that your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs defense having a 20 plus days of rest. Now, this leads into my other key, and you brought it up, jumping on them early. If there is any rust with
Yes.
this Kansas City Chiefs team and they're not ready to go at the start of the game, take advantage of it. Jump out as early as
Yeah.
you can, because once Pat Mahomes starts doing that little finger thing, he's back, and it's just weathering the storm
Right.
and trusting your defense to stop that offense. I
Yeah.
think it is crucial for the Houston Texans to start out early. You cannot win this football game if you come out flat like you did last week against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Because then, let's say neither team is working, and then the Chiefs turn it on. And quite frankly, I don't think the Houston Texans offense could keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs if the score is 0-0.
Yeah. I think that you hit the nail on the head, man. And not only coming out early, but this is the age old debate, right? Rest versus rust.
Mhm.
Um, and this is kind of where it gets settled. I like the fact that the Houston Texans got to play a game and feel, we talked about it with the Titans game. Get some rhythm, get some confidence. I think they're feeling really confident now that they've played against the Chargers. And let's keep it real, the Kansas City Chiefs haven't played a meaningful game since Christmas. So, yeah, absolutely, you have an opportunity. But once again, this is not this is not the Chargers secondary, man. I think McDuffie's probably going to be following Nico around. It's going to be Steve Spagnuolo's goal to pull Nico out of this game, not necessarily, with injury or anything, but they want to shut him down
Mhm.
and make CJ Stroud use his other weapons, which, let's keep it real, other than Schultz, nobody has more than 500 yards receiving on this team. Not even close to 500 yards receiving on this team. So they're definitely going to be trying to take Nico out of the game. I'm really excited to see if they can do that. How good is Nico? We're going to find out this weekend. But yeah, man, just jump on him early, man. I want to see that same aggressiveness that
Mhm.
you had last season in your playoff game, or even in the Colts game. First shot of the game was a deep shot, 75 yards, man. I want to see them just come out and let it fly, man. You have nothing to lose,
Mhm.
Houston. This is as far as you've ever been. You've never been farther than this. You're a damn near 10-point underdog. Go out there and just let it loose, man. Play ball and see what happens. And that's the reason that I'm not really stressing about this game. I just have optimism at this point. We'll
Mhm.
face whatever happens afterward. I'm hoping we're celebrating a dub. It's gonna be a party in H-Town, bro. If we win this game, if we win this game,
If you
bro,
win,
we might throw a parade even without the Super Bowl win, bro.
we're if we win this game, we're not leaving Tejas Brewery. I'll tell you that.
For sure. For
The
sure.
scene, and they're having a DJ there tomorrow, so it is going to be
Nice.
a packed house. So hopefully we get to enjoy the win together. But I'm looking at the offensive line here,
Mm,
and I think even if Shaq Mason is healthy, and we'll start to get to the injury report here in a second,
yeah.
I still want to see Drew Scruggs at right guard. I think that he is one of your five best linemen. And I think that there is a new type of identity with Juice Scruggs at the right guard
Yeah.
spot. We're seeing this offensive lineman, care, right? Of course, that's what happens when it's playoff football. You saw Laramie Tunsil, celebrating with Joe Mixon when he had the slime helmet, doing the belt to ass celebration. Most
Yeah.
excited I've seen Laramie Tunsil as a Houston Texan.
Yeah.
But I want to see Juice Scruggs out there at right guard. I like the matchup of Chris Jones and Titus Howard.
Hmm.
Titus Howard has had some success against Chris Jones in the past. So this is his third time going up against him. That's going to be a fun matchup. But if this offensive line can not only, give CJ Stroud some time to throw, but have Joe Mixon be successful on the ground, and that's a big if with those two great linebackers that the Chiefs had. Bolton is one of them. If Joe Mixon is going and this passing game is going, dude, we're gonna feel like we could win this game on Saturday. Now that once again is a big if because Spags is a Hall of Fame defensive
Yeah, man.
coordinator, and we know that we cannot rely on this Houston Texan offense to be consistent if they are successful against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's back-to-back weeks of an effective offense. We haven't had that all year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. It's funny that you mentioned that, man, because the NFL is a league where everybody's looking for the new, innovative, young head coach, the young play caller. There's this youth movement in the NFL, and here sit these two old heads, man, been doing it for decades now, and wrecking shop in this league, man. And so that's why I'm looking forward to the matchup between Andy Reid and D'Amico Ryans, because like I said, this is going to kind of be a measuring stick. How well can you scheme up a game? Because you're going up against the best to
What
do
if
it,
he
one of the
does,
best to
bro?
do it.
What if D'Amico schemes up something nasty and this defense just takes control? We're gonna be talking about D'Amico like, hey, you're capable of beating a Super Bowl winning coach. We're
Yeah,
gonna hold you to those standards going forward.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I feel like he's gonna rise to the occasion, man. And I don't necessarily know if that means a dub. Excuse me. I don't know if that necessarily means a win. Uh, but I feel like he's gonna rise to the occasion, man. I just he was mic'd up for the Chargers game, and the excitement that you see him do his job with, it's just infectious, man. And I don't hardly see any head coaches with that type of energy on the sidelines, man. It feels like he thinks he's still on the field, man. He's playing with these guys, and I think that resonates with them. And so I hope. Listen, man. The only thing I really, really would be disappointed in is a blowout,
Yeah.
obviously. You give them hell, you play the best game you got, despite the fact that you don't have Tank Dell, you don't have Stephon Diggs, you've been dealing with, a rotating a rotating line on the offensive line. And you brought that up. I don't want to see Shaq Mason. I know he's a vet, but for me, for 3/4 of the season, the offensive line was broken and you didn't fix it. It now might not be broken. So if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Like
Mhm.
what they did last week was really impressive. Now, if they come out and they shit the bed, in the first quarter and the offensive line is porous and letting people through the middle and coming through unblocked, then maybe you consider, hey, Shaq Mason in this game. But as far as I'm concerned, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. But I just want to see the best game we've seen from this Houston Texans team. And if we get that, regardless of the outcome, man, I'll be happy. I'm not ready to do shows about the draft yet, bro. I want this dub.
Oh yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to talk about whether or not this Houston Texans season is a success.
Yeah,
But I agree with you. If it's a blowout, I'm disappointed. I'm upset. Season was just horrendous. But you put up a fight, man. Then we're talking entirely different. If I'm gonna fall to anyone, I'm gonna fall to the best of the very best,
for sure.
and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. We got about 5-7 minutes left. Nick, give me your reasons why the Houston Texans will pull it off tomorrow, and give me your score prediction.
Number one, the reason I feel confident that it could happen is because nobody thinks it's going to.
Mm.
And you can't tell me that hasn't crept into the minds of the Kansas City Chiefs just a little bit. I mean, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you should be feeling yourself, right? You should be the Texans. They've went from it's not a bye week. Now everybody's saying it's a practice game. And
Nick
you can't
Wright,
tell me
bitch ass.
you can't tell me that nobody on this Kansas City Chiefs team believes the same thing. But here's what I know. I saw CJ Stroud get up on that stage last season and say, hey, we want you guys to be proud to put on Houston Texans gear anytime we get a dub. I've seen CJ Stroud talk about the history of this team and how he's ready to change it. So I know that's on his mind. I've seen Joe Mixon respond to Rex Ryan after he called the Houston Texans a bye week and they put that belt to ass on the Chargers. So I know Joe Mixon cares about the fact that they're underdogs. And I think that is permeating through the entire team. You even saw the head coach mention what Rex Ryan said. So, man, I don't think they need the extra motivation. That's not what I'm saying it is, but it is there. And I know for a fact that when nobody believes anything is going to happen, that's when you have your best chance. Because you can't tell me Kansas City doesn't think the same way, that this is going to be a run over game. At the same time, you have to prove that you are not what everybody is saying that you are. So I think the Texans' pride is going to kick in as well. And like I said, as far as on the field, I like the way our strengths match up against their weaknesses. If the Texans win, I think it's going to be by more than one score. So I'm going to go 27-17. Houston Texans. This defense is going to ball out, man. You can't stop Patrick Mahomes, but can you limit him enough with this defense? And can you do enough offensively, man? Get a turnover, even score on defense, whatever it takes. But I think it's going to have to be a 2-score game at least if they're going to win. Because like I said, they keep it close, then you're playing Kansas City and the refs at this point. The NFL might have an interest in seeing history be made for the first time. So I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but win by 2 scores, 27-17 Texans. That's what I'm going to be expecting if they get the dub tomorrow.
History is what's in front of us tomorrow, Nick.
Yes, sir.
And at one point, every man has an opportunity to do that themselves. And tomorrow, these 53 Houston Texans and this coaching staff are going to fly into Arrowhead and have an opportunity to shock the NFL world. Think about what will be talked about after this game, after this Houston Texans win. Wow, who would have thought that this Houston team that no one believed in came in and beat the back-to-back Super Bowl champions? Who would have thought that CJ Stroud was able to get it going during the playoffs? We're going to have to be calling him Playoff CJ. Nick, this defense is going to be swarming tomorrow.
Yes,
They're
sir.
going to get to the quarterback. I got Danico Autry with another sack. Give me a sack and a half from him, a sack from Will, a sack from Daniil, and we have Azeez Al-Shaair and Christian Harris just clogging up the run lane. The Houston Texans tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, are going to jump all over the Kansas City Chiefs. And then they're going to weather the storm. They're going to pin their ears back, and they're going to let this defense take them to the AFC Championship. Boys, tomorrow history will be made. Tomorrow you will remember where you were for as long as you live, because tomorrow will be when the Houston Texans get to the first ever AFC Championship in franchise history. And like I said on the live stream, there is no history, there is no culture that we can fall back on. It's being written as we are seeing it happen, and it's going to happen tomorrow. Houston Texans 30, Kansas City Chiefs 21. You shocked the world, and hey, you're one game away from the Super Bowl.
I love it, man. I love it. I can't wait, man. Tejas Brewery is going to be lit.
Oh, I'm gonna get there on two.
I don't want to put any. My goodness.
Beers, blunts, bump. I'm so hype.
I don't want to put any added pressure on the situation, but you did see that our good friends, this is going to be a friendly rivalry. Our good friends at ESPN also have a watch party going tomorrow.
Hey, a lot of other people are having watch parties, but we're showing them the power of the YouTubers. Real coverage from real fans is what
Absolutely.
we pride ourselves on, and
So-
we're gonna have one tomorrow.
For sure. So if there's anybody out there, perhaps you watch this show and you're a listener to some of these other entities that are having a watch party tomorrow, and you're kind of stuck in between on which one you want to go to. Listen, Ruben said it himself. Real coverage, real fans. This is where you're going to find the realness. You might find in those other places people who are not even expecting the Houston Texans to win. Why? Because when we say the Houston Texans are going to win this thing, that is bold. That is daring. That's not taking the safe route. A lot of other entities, they might take the safe route or they might try to be controversial. We're just telling you like it is, man. We're Houston Texans fans and we're ready to make history. And if it doesn't happen, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Today, this is our chance. This is our moment. And so please come out to Tejas Brewery. Come kick it with us, man. Come have a beer with me and Ruben. We would love to see as many people out there as possible. Like I said, it's a friendly competition. We might be taking a head count and comparing our head count to the other parties. Who knows? We'll see.
We will.
We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely. And hey, boys, this means the world that you guys are going to be with us tomorrow as we potentially get to see history.
For sure.
I started this by, you're just recording off my phone, and now,
Look at
we
you,
have
bro.
the opportunity to, be there celebrating drunk, and, it's going to be the time of our lives. And, Nick, like on some real stuff, bro, if we win tomorrow, we're never going to forget tomorrow.
No,
We're
for
never
sure.
going to forget the day the Houston
Ruben.
Texans got to their first ever AFC championship.
Ruben, are you gonna cry, bro?
I'm going to cry.
I might shed a tear,
Dude,
bro.
I'm gonna tell you something. I am after I almost tripped out on like 10 grams of shrooms. I am very emotional. So I see a commercial, I
Yo.
see a sad movie, I'm popping a tear down the side of the cheek. Dude, we do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm crying. We win you go to the Super Bowl, I'm crying.
Yeah, I feel you. I might ugly cry if we go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude, ugly cry, boogers and everything.
Hell yeah.
But all right, boys, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you in about 24 hours where the Houston Texans are going to be going up against the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift. I am Ruben. That is Nick. For more Houston Texans content, feel free to follow us for more. Go Houston. Have a blessed day.
Good night.